What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of SRA Rally Point. I am your host, Shadow, leader of the Shadow Riders Army. I know it's been a minute, y'all, since we did an episode of the show. I've been on hiatus. I've been to Peru. I went on a spiritual retreat. I did like ayahuasca and psilocybin mushrooms, all kinds of cool shit since I've been gone. But I'm back, y'all. And we got a special guest coming up today. We got DJedi Naz on the show. She's going to be coming up in a minute. But before we get into that, we got to do quick commercials, announcements, and then we're going to be right back. So right after these messages, we come in right back.
ERC-20 based cryptocurrency that embraces a divine mission. With BJesus, security and transparency are paramount. We are empowering our community to be part of something greater. Don't miss out on the opportunity to be a part of the BJesus movement. Visit blackjesus.life and purchase yours now. BJesus, empowering believers in the world of blockchain.
Hey, this is Rez here, telling you about a hot new streaming radio station called Boat 365 Radio. Listen, there are thousands of internet radio stations on the market who do a wonderful job in delivering you great music, news, and other forms of entertainment. However, what separates Boat 365 Radio from the others is our mission to bring together entertainers and listeners in a unique way uncommon to most radio stations. Boat 365 Radio is your home for great entertainment from some of the hottest indie entertainers around. Stay locked and ready to rock. Boat 365 Radio, offering you the best in electrifying radio entertainment.
Hello there. Are you tired of feeling disconnected and alone in your interests? Do you long to be a part of a community of like-minded individuals who share your passion and enthusiasm? Well, look no further than the Shadow Riders Army community. We are a rapidly growing group of individuals from all walks of life who share a love for music, technology, and all things JDM. By subscribing to the Shadow Music channel, you are not just joining a community, but you are also helping to build a powerful force of individuals who can work together to make a positive impact in the world. We believe that together, we can accomplish great things and make a real difference in the lives of others. Plus, by subscribing to the Shadow Music channel, you'll gain access to exclusive content, behind-the-scenes footage, and a whole host of other perks that are only available to our valued subscribers. So, what are you waiting for? Join the Shadow Riders Army community today and become a part of something truly special. Subscribe to the Shadow Music channel now and help us build a better world, one dreamer at a time.
Hey guys, it's Adele with ShadowRiders.com. Looking for the hottest news in the JDM car culture scene? Then check out our website for the hottest cars, events, tech, and more. Make sure you check out our weekly podcast and follow us on Facebook and Twitter as well. Alright guys, later!
What's up? This is Shadow, music artist, producer, songwriter, entrepreneur, founder of Shadow Worlds Entertainment, and leader of Shadow Riders. On this short video, I'm going to answer the question, who should read Phantom Force The Awakening? So who should read Phantom Force The Awakening? Anybody who likes science fiction, fantasy, and or action stories. This is a story filled with lots of action. There will be lots of martial arts action, magic, and technology in the story. So if you like that kind of stuff, then you should definitely read Phantom Force The Awakening. Enough said. If you found this insider information helpful, make sure you go get our free report, 20 Things You Must Know Before You Read Phantom Force The Awakening, with your purchase of our new ebook, Phantom Force The Awakening. It's free and it contains some of the hottest topics on Phantom Force The Awakening and more. Just go to phantomiscool.com and we'll see you there. Shadow Riders.
Arlington, Texas-based jazz musician, saxophonist, producer, songwriter, and an entrepreneur, Mr. Shadow.
And my boy Shadow's on the phone.
Shadow of Shadow Riders Army.
A big fan club is called the Shadow Riders Army. Performed throughout the United States as well as Japan.
Shadow
He was
Ethos
in a
Project.
band in Korea.
Tour with a Korean funk band called Windy
Red
City.
Chocolate.
What he's doing with this Shadow Riders Army, that's going to change the landscape of some of the things that's going.
Everything is energy. And absolutely nothing rests.
Like the sun up in the sky, I'm red hot like dynamite. I'm a million Fahrenheit, 'cause my music's style ignites you like no other.
Hey, this is Shadow, leader of the Shadow Riders Army. Make sure that you go pick up one of my NFTs so you can gain access to a new cryptocurrency called Devin. These tokens will be used to develop apps that will help music artists thrive in the new crypto economy and earn passive income using the Devin token ecosystem. So make sure you go hit the link in my bio and get you some Devin right now. Go right now.
Advertise your business on the SRA Rally Point show. Reach 250,000 people each week. Are you looking for an effective way to promote your business to a massive audience? Look no further. The SRA Rally Point show offers an incredible opportunity to reach over 250,000 people every week through our multi-stream broadcasts. Don't miss out on this chance to skyrocket your brand's visibility and grow your customer base. Hurry and order your video ad spot now. Benefits of advertising with us. Reach, advertise to 250,000 people each week by leveraging the immense viewership of the SRA Rally Point show. Video ads. Have your 30-second video advertisement aired 6 times a week during our highly popular multi-stream broadcasts. Extensive syndication. We syndicate our show to various platforms, including YouTube, Twitch, Facebook Live, Kick Trovo, and more, maximizing your reach and exposure. Impressive viewership. Your video ads will reach over 100,000 viewers each week, offering a massive potential customer base for your business. Long-term exposure. Unlike traditional ads that come and go, your video ads will remain on our channel, providing sustained visibility and brand recognition. Easy setup. Simply provide us with a 30-second YouTube video link for your ad, ensuring a seamless and hassle-free advertising process. Don't miss this incredible opportunity to promote your business to a massive audience and achieve unparalleled growth. Click the link below to secure your video ad spot on the SRA Rally Point show. Grow your brand and reach new heights today.
All right. We back. Thank y'all for viewing those announcements. We really appreciate you. Make sure you patronize some of our advertisers. And without further ado, I'd like to bring up our guest today. All right. Hello.
Hey, peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings, please. So let me do a formal introduction. So today we have on our show DJedi Naz. She is a holistic therapist, energy medicine practitioner, metaphysician, sound alchemist, and shadow hunter. And she specializes in our topic today. We're going to be talking about shadow work. You want to go ahead and say hello to the audience?
Yes. Hey, peace and blessings. So first of all, thank you for such a great introduction. I am DJedi Naz. And so peace and blessings to everyone. I hope that today is informative and gets you started on your path to your own inner healing.
Absolutely. That's awesome. So I gotta tell you, so I'm really into the occult. I'm into metaphysics, and on this show, the Shadow Riders Army is my fan club, and this show is like a labor of love from me to my fans. Where we get on here, and we talk about updates and stuff that's going with the fan club, but more importantly, we talk about stuff that we actually into. And I always try to bring great value to the community and actually help them in their lives and motivate them and inspire them to become better and grow. So it's a pleasure to have you on the show to talk about the topic of shadow work.
Ashe.
Ashe. Part of our tradition, before we get into it, though, we do a song of the day. So I always introduce them to a new song that I released. Usually, like, either if it wasn't like recently, it was like a few weeks back. But if fans didn't get a chance to hear it, I try to introduce them to a new song that I dropped, and then part of the tradition is like when I have a guest on, we talk about it after it plays. So
Okay.
we're gonna do a song today. This one is called ASMR, and this was a song that was inspired by love. Love is the frequency of this song. So let me get it queued up, and I hope y'all enjoy it. And Jedi Naz, I hope you enjoy it. We're gonna talk about it after it's done playing. So let's go.
All right.
Let's see here. Make sure it's on the screen. All right, here we go. And let's play it. Yes. That was
Okay.
ASMR. What you think about that?
Well, you asking me first. You started with me. So
Everybody.
I close my eyes. I close my eyes whenever I listen to music for the first time, primarily because I want to see what I feel.
Mm,
And I want to see what I see as I'm listening to, especially if it's an instrumental track. But what's interesting about the saxophone, and I feel like this, I'm a vocalist as well. I used to rock with a band. Sometimes we scaled all the way up and had all the horn pieces, you know what I'm saying? And it was
yeah.
always a balance between the vocalist and the horn section, right? Because the
Mm,
horn takes the place of a vocalist when a vocalist is not present. You see what I'm saying? So you can hear all of the lyrics. For me personally, I can hear the lyrics through your saxophone playing. You see what I'm
mm,
saying? And so it's dope. I'm like, am I writing to this or no?
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's dope. Anyway, it's dope. It's dope. And I love the layers. I love the beautiful layers and the sound effects and everything that are intermingled in that. The sound of the congas. I believe they're congas. Is it a different drum that's being used?
There was congas,
Uh-huh.
timbales, and
Uh-huh.
bongos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I heard them. You know what I'm saying? And so it just feels good because whenever you introduce those drums, you know, that's working at that root chakra level, it's helping you to
Hmm.
actually bring that energy up. So it's beautiful. It was beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your input. I really put
Absolutely.
so much love into that. So much love went into that track. So much.
Ashe.
It was
Ashe.
inspiring.
It reminds me of, like, you know how back in the day during wartime they used Morse code, right? I can't
Hmm.
communicate with you voice to voice, but here, get these taps. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
through these taps, we could discern what the message was. And I think music has that same effect, especially when you're listening to instrumentalists, right? Where you
Mm,
don't get an opportunity as a listener to try to interpret someone's words or whatever. All you get is the frequency or the vibration coming from those particular instruments. You know what I'm saying? And if you tune in, this is why I close my eyes. If you tune in, you hear the message. So, yeah, man, you're doing
yeah.
your thing.
Yeah. I appreciate you. I
Yeah.
closed my eyes too. Like even after I made it, I close my eyes and I'm like, I revisit the the feeling and the emotion and the intention in that moment in time when I got inspired to make it. Like
Yes.
who inspired me to make it, the process of making it. All
Yes.
those moments are encapsulated into different little bubbles of time space. And it's like when I close my eyes and tap into the intention, it's like I'm transported back there, no matter where I
Absolutely.
am right now. And it's such a vibe. And I think, like, speaking about metaphysics, I know you like really into metaphysics and everything. The the vibrations, like how we kind of clear the space, like get the intention set in the space before we start going into something like interview questions and talking about the subject by setting the tone with tones, with
Yes.
sounds. We kind of do like a what Bobby Hemmings say, like the veneration to the
Yes.
ancestors and everything. You kind of
Absolutely.
you bless the space by the music that you play. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah, it feels like every time we do the song of the day before we get started, that's how it like it clears the space. You know?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we gotta talk about before I ask like the nitty gritty questions. I gotta talk about the name Jedi Naz, right?
Yeah, man.
Jedi. I consider myself not like the George Lucas Jedi from Star Wars,
Exactly.
but we know where he got that from. And the reason I'm saying that to y'all in the audience, you probably don't catch on if you don't know where I'm going with this. But you notice how she spelled her name Jedi. She put a D in the front. And now I know why she did that, but I'm gonna let you go ahead and elaborate on that.
Ashe. So yes, it's so interesting. You know, I've had people call me everything from DJ Eddie, DJ Eddie Nas. I'm like, hey, that's not correct. That's not correct.
Uh-uh.
The D is silent, you know. And at the end of the day, if we want to keep it all the way real, George Lucas got his concept of Jedis and the order of the Jedis from ancient Kemet. And so when we think about um, even if you look at the movies, what the Jedis were and what their capacities were, all of that is real. It's all real. None of that is make believe. And so here you have an ancient Kemet, a group of Jedis, not just warriors, but I hate to use the word magician, right? Because what is magic? Magic is a science that is unknown, right?
Mm.
And so I'm going to say you had scientists. That's what I'm going to call them. Scientists,
Mm.
healers, warriors, all of this. And they were in a secret, sacred order to basically maintain balance. Essentially, I'm keeping this very short, to basically maintain balance. So as I go through my own individual stages, and I know that we'll get to this here shortly, but as I go through my own individual stages of evolution, I landed on Jedi. Okay.
Mm.
I've been a lot of things. I've been a phoenix. Um, I've been a dragon. I've been all of these things energetically. But as I evolve and open my spirit up, I became Jedi. Now, Jedi is not a title that you just take on. It is a lifestyle. It is something that you are. It's not just a title that you wear, or, a cloak that you put on, or a hat that you sport. It is a way of living, a way of being, a way of thinking, a way of doing. And so on and so forth. So yes, that's the short
Yes.
and funky of it. And I got swords over here, machetes that I practice with, amongst other things. So yeah, it's real in the field.
Your lightsabers.
Lightsabers, okay.
Your lightsabers.
I got that Ankh tattooed right here as a reminder to myself of what I am and what I'm doing with my voice and how I'm using it and how I'm impacting and affecting people. So everything that comes through that yoni portal, right? You're being blessed by it.
Mm. Your lightsaber coming straight out like that.
You get it?
Spiritual lightsaber.
You get it.
You got physical lightsabers.
Absolutely.
You got mental lightsabers.
Absolutely. All day.
And I noticed what you said about the ancient Kemet warriors, priests, scientists, magicians, whatever you want to call them. Key word is balance that they had, and which kind of segues into what we're going to talk about with shadow work. You got to have balance on your light side, and you got to have balance on your dark side.
Absolutely.
You can't live without either one. But if too much of one ain't good.
It's not.
So, go ahead.
Yeah, it's a real thing. And so I hate to cut you off, and I'm not trying to do that, but I want to piggyback off of what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I have this way of moving for myself, and that is this. Notice I don't call myself a priestess. Okay. I don't offer spiritual counsel. Okay. And that is because for myself, I stand in the middle of both my light and my dark. Okay. And it took me a long time to get into the middle. Okay. For the first 30 years of my life, I was in my darkness. Okay. I was gangster. Okay. I don't know what kind of language we can use on your show.
Speak freely.
I was unfuckwittable. Okay.
Hey.
All right. So, but when I turned 30, I went through a shift. And I had an opportunity within that shift to allow my goddess or my God self, my higher self, to take my crown. And she just simply asked me, "Are you ready?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I ain't never experienced you before. Come on up in here." And she changed my life. Okay. And so when we talk about shadow work, everyone has to understand, just like within yourself, you have masculine energy and feminine energy. All of us have that energy. We just lean more to one side or the other side. It's the same thing with your darkness and your light. Okay. But what you will notice is that the further you get into your darkness, your light will pull you back. Like, hey, you done went too far. You come on back, child. Okay.
Come on back.
Okay. And when you get too far into your light, your darkness say, "Hey, don't stop fronting." Because when you're not on this social media, you over here doing X, Y, and Z. Come on back. You see what I'm saying? And so standing in the middle of all of that energy and observing everything that you are on both ends of the spectrum is what for me, shadow work has helped me get into and understand more. That I don't gotta act like a goody two shoes or act like I don't curse or any of that stuff, because I am who I am, and accepting all of that is the process of that shadow work, right? I'm a little crunchy sometimes. Sometimes I'm gonna cut your ass out if you need it, right? That's that machete coming out, because some people don't. Some people need that. But sometimes I'm going to pull out all my grace and give you all the grace that I have, because I recognize that you also need that. I'm no longer triggered by your attitude or your energy or your disposition, because I understand it doesn't have anything to do with me. That is how shadow work balances you out. So yeah. Anyway, I wanted to say that because you were getting into a good point.
Absolutely. So that's a perfect segue to ask the first question for the audience. If you guys are wondering, I would ask for the audience. So, what is shadow work?
Okay, I want to keep it short and funky, and I've been thinking about this because I got a long explanation for shadow work. Okay,
but this we got all the time you need. All the time you need.
But this is the short and sweet. The short and sweet is it's an exploration and a recalibration of your own inner G, right? Your own inner God, your own inner goddess, your own inner self. You don't even have to look at it as God and goddess, but your own inner self. It is a balancing out and an exploration, a reclamation of all of your energy. Okay. See, a lot of times we go through things as people, period. That's what we're here to do. We are here as spiritual beings in these spacesuits that we call bodies to have an experience, okay? But remember that you are ages old, okay? Your spirit ain't new unless it is new, okay? And so you've lived lifetimes in my experience. And within that, you've collected a whole lot of shit with you. And you just got to pound on. And every time you become physical, it is your opportunity to physically work out your stuff, okay? Whether it be from your lineage, right? Or your own stuff that you've picked up along the way. So once you get into this experience, now it's time to be working out that stuff. But what we do is we compartmentalize all these things, right? We, in our mind, we have a little shelf because we're trying to survive. As young people, we're trying to survive our parents, right? So whatever mommy and daddy say do, you know what? 9 times out of 10, you're going to do it because they are providing the roof over your head, the food in your mouth, and everything that you need from 0 to 18 years old if you're lucky. Okay. And so there are things that are going to happen in that experience because maybe your parents haven't dealt with their trauma, right? Maybe they're projecting onto you. Maybe there's some other things going on. And so what you're doing as you are trying to survive that state is you are compartmentalizing your emotions. You are compartmentalizing the trauma. You are compartmentalizing your insecurity. The things that are beautiful about you that maybe they don't enjoy or appreciate, you are truncating that down. Deep down into yourself so that you can be whatever version that you need to be in order to survive. But let me tell you something. The stuff that you are feeling today, the things, the humps that you can't get over today, when I tell you that is all of that shit that you have compartmentalized. The stuff that is like leaking battery acid all inside of you. And it's being spewed out from all your cracks and energetic crevices onto the people in your experience. I promise you that is happening. And it happens to all of us. It's not just one of us. It happens to all of us. So it's our responsibility to ourselves. It is our responsibility to our families, the ones that we are creating, our children and our partners, to go inside of ourselves and open those boxes on the shelves that we've put away, to look at the trauma, to look at the insecurity, to rediscover all of these beautiful things about ourselves and to accept it. And to accept it so that we can get on to the next phase. Like I said, I've been a lot of different things energetically already through the process of shadow working. At one point, I was a fire-breathing dragon. That means that everybody was getting that work. You know why? Because my mom, I need to have some words with you. My grandmother, I need to have some words with you. My daddy, I got some words for you. Okay? There's some things that you need to understand, and I don't got no grace for you. All I got is this machete right here, and I ain't feel no sort of way about it. I was a fire-breathing dragon because I was addressing the things that I was scared to address before. I was confronting the things that I felt like I didn't have a voice to confront before. Oh, but now I'm grown, and I can say that to you. So yeah, it's a process of that.
Yeah. And me personally, I've recently, like I was telling you and everybody else before, I just got back from Peru. We did ayahuasca
Yeah.
and psilocybin mushroom, and man, and it pulled up a whole bunch of shit.
Yeah.
Some dirty, nasty, grimy shit that I thought I had dealt with. Because prior to doing that this year, my mom passed. My mom passed this summer. And there was a ton of shit still buried in there about my mother wounds, right?
Yes.
Ton of shit about how she influenced me as a little boy, and like you said, some manipulative things that she did that affected me or how I deal with my relationships with women.
Yeah.
Oh man, like so much was packed in there, and I realized that after she passed, that influence, her influence on me in the physical realm, is not there no more. And when we did the ayahuasca, man, I was bawling and snotting and crying and all type of shit, and shit was coming up about. I was trying to explain this to a WhatsApp group because we talk about it. We still talk after the whole event, and some shadow work that I had to deal with my mother wound. And I noticed she talk about the father wound too, but I'm like really focused on my mom right now because she passed. Like growing up, seeing her and my dad always fighting. You know, they had a really rocky relationship and like a long, drawn out divorce period, right? And so I remember, and I told this story to Shorty who she's like my a financial advisor and friend. But I told her the story when I got back from Peru. Like I had a past life, I had trauma from when I was a kid. I saw her pull a gun on my dad. They used to fight so much, and they were fighting because I don't know who she know who back then. Cause I was just a kid, and I didn't understand why she pulling a gun on my dad. And so they fighting and scrapping and shit flying. He dragging her out, like dragging on the floor out the house, trying to throw out. I'm like, dang. So at the time, I had one little sister was born, so I'm like protecting her, and I like put her in the room, and little warrior me running there trying to break them up, not even thinking like it's a gun in there. So that fucked me up. And so when they split up, I spent more time living with her. And as a little boy, I saw her unhappy, and she kind of emotionally vomited on me and did the thing where, okay, you're the man in the house now, type of shit. And so the motherhood wound that I just now realized that this was there and it was affecting my relationship with the women, because I be having trouble like really opening up to like women that I really care about, and I uncovered by doing shadow work that this is the reason why. And I'm 46 now. It took me this long to uncover this. It took me having to lose her. She died. Excuse me. It's already like making me like
I got you.
But I realized I felt responsible for her emotions and her sadness and her as a child, as a little boy, as a child. So I didn't have any room to be responsible for my own emotions and my own feelings. I had to put them on the side and, in my mind, take care of my mom's. And that left me no room for my own emotional development. And it stayed like that. I remember she remarried to this like guy, and he was totally not a good match. But I had to sit there. I remember like she would, things wouldn't go well with him, and actually his influence, because he was ex-military, when he was dating my mom, and they actually got married. But I remember like something real bad happened, and like she was, distraught about it, and it was like it's like they should break up or something. And I felt like he was threatening her, so like I went and got one of my best friends, and we was finna go try to fight him.
How old were you?
I was maybe 16.
Okay.
He was a grown ass man, and I'm like, but to me, I'm taking responsibility for my mom's emotions, but it wasn't really on me. I should have had time. I should took time to, be responsible for my own emotions and my own feelings when it comes to dating and relationships and all that. But I was so busy feeling responsible for my mom's that I didn't have room.
Yeah.
And so she passed, and then it all just flooded out like that. I'm like, wow.
So let me say this. First of all, thank you for sharing, because I know that is it's hard to be vulnerable, first of all, okay, and to speak your truth. So thank you for sharing that. When we talk about adulting, this is some of the most adult kind of shit you could do, right?
Facts.
So thank you for sharing that. I want to say this though about your mom's passing and then all of that coming to the forefront, because this is similar of what happened to me. My late husband passed away, and what a lot of people don't understand about grief, okay, is that grief unfolds. It's just the depression around loss. Right? That's what grief is defined as, depression around loss, right? But when you are in the state of grief, everything coming up, everything busting wide open. It's not just, oh, my family member or my lover or my friend has passed away. No, it is everything in your life comes to the forefront. You know why? Because your heart is broken. And when that heart breaks open, now you have an opportunity for all of the stuff that you've been hiding down up in the bottom of that thing to come up. And now it is coming up. And so let's be thankful for the process, okay? Because even though the process is challenging and we feel unnerved by the process, it is important. And everything is happening in its own divine time. Okay, there are a lot of things that you have needed to experience, you yourself. So now in this awakening process, you can say, oh shit, okay, that's why this is like this. And you start connecting the dots. That is part of the shadow working process. It is, oh my gosh, I experienced this as a child. So let me take you to the top. Okay, the top is what's on the surface. Okay, on the surface, that looks like you being emotionally unavailable.
Yeah.
So, but when you're so when you're shadow working and now you have awareness, I am me, I am emotionally unavailable. Then you start to question it. Why am I emotionally unavailable? Okay. And you take yourself, and these are questions that you ask your higher self. Okay. Sometimes we do that through the process of writing, but sometimes it is just an out loud question to yourself. Why am I emotionally unavailable? See, your higher self is always looking. As much as we want to get around, you know what I'm saying, thinking that we doing something slick, not ever are we. So all that time you spent in your darkness, your God self was watching you. Okay, and he or she or it or they have the answer for you. But you have to be brave enough to ask the question. And once you ask the question, now you're going to be flooded with your memories. Okay. Now the memories are going to start to come. And it's your responsibility now to pay attention, because now the shadow is talking to you. The shadow is now vocalizing to you in a conscious way. No longer in a subconscious way. When it's in a subconscious way, this is you projecting, this is you acting out, this is other people telling you about yourself, and you break in the mirror like, no, that's not me. That's all of that's gone, because now you have awareness. Okay. And now it's like, okay, now you understand my language, boo. Let me tell you about yourself. And then you have to say, damn, all of that happened to me when I was a young person, when I was still under the rule of my parents, when I did not have an opportunity to be the person that I know that I am, when I didn't have that. I was in survival mode. It's not my fault, but it is my experience. And to that point, the other thing for us to remember is that our parents were doing the best that they could do. It does not give them a pass, honey, because when I tell you I was a fire-breathing dragon, I was, and I gave them that work. And me and my mother like this right now, as a result of me telling the truth and asking her the hard questions and giving her an opportunity to explain to me what she was going through. Okay. But at the end of the day, it's necessary. It's a necessary part of the experience, because our parents, they were in survival mode. Our parents had trauma. And depending on how old you are, during that time, women didn't have a whole lot of opportunities to do things independently. So what did they have to do? They had to depend on someone else to assist in their own living. So there was a lot of things that our parents put up with, not necessarily because they wanted to, man and woman. It was like, we stronger together. We melanated people. Sometimes we got to be together in order to survive all of this shit. Right. And sometimes I don't like you, but because I don't know how to deal with me not liking you, or maybe it's not you and it's me, but I don't understand my own emotionality, then it becomes physical because I don't know how to deal. Right. And so when we shadow work, we learn processes of how do we manage ourselves emotionally? How do we manage ourselves spiritually? How do we balance out our own energy in order to navigate this experience? You see what I'm saying? So yeah, it's a process. And I tell people, ain't nothing cute. It's not fun. It's not fun. It's challenging. But
you gotta be brave.
You do have to be brave. But when you do this, go on this dark night of the soul, when you do this work, though, the person you are on the other side of it is more confident, it's more integral, it's more authentic. You a whole vibration, and you are felt before you enter a space. I'll speak for myself. Okay.
Hey,
but you
I'm
become
there too.
Okay. So you become something else, something more, that thing that you've been trying to reach, that person you've been trying to become. Not going to happen without your shadow work. It's not. Or your inner child healing, which the two are very, very much the same. And we can talk about that in a moment. But yeah.
Yeah. That leads me to the next question I got. And it's interesting. Before I ask the question, I have to say my name, Shadow. My higher self must have knew that I was going to be the one to break all the generational curses in my family, in my bloodline, my immediate family, my mom, my father, within myself, and then going into the future. Because I got two sons.
Okay.
I'm not with their mom no more. We got divorced. Even her and her family, I've affected them.
Ashe.
And it's the shadow, just the name being chosen. I didn't give myself that name. People used to call me that when I was in high school. Off of it's a movie called Mo Better Blues, because I was playing music back in high school, and they just started calling me Shadow off of the guy Wesley Snipes' His
I
name in
know.
the
Excuse me. I
yeah
know. I know this movie. You must be saying this for
yeah
your audience.
yeah.
I know this
I got
movie.
so you know the movie, right? So you
Yeah.
know they Wesley Snipes was called Shadow Henderson, and so my best friend at the time, he was a trumpet player and I was a saxophone player, and this is back in
Okay.
junior high, and we used to just play the first scene over and over again in his dad's garage, and we used to play along with it, and we used to call each other like I
Your
used to call him
names.
Bleak, and he called me Shadow, and
Yeah.
then everybody in school started calling us that, and it just stuck after that.
Ashe.
It's just crazy. That name done followed me since then, and the energy on that name kind of had a responsibility on it for me to do the work
Mm-hmm.
throughout my life. And so that lead me up into the question of why should we do shadow work?
So that
Why?
you can become the true version of yourself, so that you can navigate this experience in authenticity and ease and flow and confidence, right?
Mm,
All of that insecurity and stuff stems from something, right? All of that anxiety stems from something. And
mm,
so understanding your energy in totality will teach you how to move. How do you navigate this experience now? Right?
mm,
The 20-year-old version of me, the 30-year-old version of me ain't nothing like this 44-year-old version of me. That
mm,
them 2 decades can't hold a candle to this one. Not a candle. Because even though I thought I knew who I was and I was successful in what I was doing, I know how I felt on the inside.
mm,
I know the mask that I was wearing. I know the mask that I was wearing. So for me to be able to move around this experience without a mask on, for me to show up as myself everywhere I go, and not and me not feel no sort of way about it when other people in the space feel some sort of way by my presence, this don't have nothing to do with me. That has something to do with you. You understand what I'm saying? It's
facts.
such a it's such a wonderful feeling, right? But I never felt like that in my 30s. I never felt like that in my 20s. Not
Yeah,
ever. So
yeah,
it's a way for you to really become the truth of what you are on a level that you can't even understand right now if you have not done your shadow work. That's
yeah.
just real.
And there's speaking back to ancient Kemet and the Kemetic culture and philosophies on the name Shadow. I did some deep, like during Dark Night of the Soul work,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like digging deep. I was like, I've reached out to ancestors like in the past, and I touched like an ancient pharaoh from way back, and I called him my granddad, and I asked him, I said, like, what would you do? You were a king. How would you handle this? And he said, hey son, I'm about to give you some instructions on life. It's gonna take you some work, and that was, a few years back, and I've evolved exponentially since then. But the comedic culture part is so there's a philosophy in comedic culture about the 5 parts of the soul, and one of them is called the shadow self, right? That's like one of the 5 parts. And it's if you lose all the other 4, as long as you got the shadow left, like that remnant, you can bring the whole king back. You can bring all the other 4 parts back and become whole again, as long as you got that remnant of a shadow.
Ashe.
And so,
Ashe.
yeah, that's the work. That's the work. If you take on the responsibility to heal yourself, you heal your bloodline.
You do. This is something that I want people to really understand, okay? We are energetic beings.
Mm,
Your body, you cannot look at it as a body. I know how we look at it as flesh and blood, but it is literally a spacesuit designed to help us navigate the third dimension here on planet Earth.
mm,
But what you are is a super consciousness, a super energetic being inhabiting this physical body. Your DNA has a frequency. Each one of the organs in your body has a frequency. Every thought has a vibration. Okay. This ain't, and so when we talk about metaphysics,
I get chills. I'm getting chills right now while you talk about it. Go ahead, break it down.
because when we talk about metaphysics, what we're talking about is something that's beyond physical. When we talk about quantum physics and all of that, all of this go together. When I tell my students, in order to be a metaphysician, you also need to study quantum physics. It's a lot to understand. Okay, so when you stop seeing yourself as just a body, as just a person, then what you understand is that your ancestors' energy is also inside of you. It was passed down, it is coded into your DNA. Okay, everything that has come before you is inside of you too. A lot of times the stuff that you're dealing with ain't got nothing to do with you. It got something to do with Grandma Trudy now. Okay, but it's just reverberating in this existence because it's time for you to do something about it. So now, as you work through that energy, right? As you work through the kinks, as you work through untangling the web, now, as those children come after you, the first child that you have, you are also carrying all the energy of every child that this child could have. Okay. And every child that child could have. So you are reverberating that energy through your DNA all the way down to your offspring. So they say that when you heal yourself, you heal 7 generations back and 7 generations forward. That's real. But but in order to understand it, you have to understand everything as a vibration and as an energy moving through. Because if you just see it like, oh, I'm just this one individual singular thing, then this concept is not going to resonate with you, right? So you got to look deeper. We got to go deeper into the science and not just be right here on the surface with everything. Because, shadow work and inner child healing, that shit is trendy right now. Everybody talking about it, but only 10% of the people are doing it.
Because it ain't for the faint at heart.
It's not.
You can't fake it. You cannot fake it.
You can't. That's how
be about their work.
Right. When people tell me they've been shadow working for years, I'd be like, oh. Because we know that it has a language. Healing has a language and it has a vibration. So it's recognizable.
And I used to ask myself, because I like throughout my whole life, I never fit in. I used to ask, like, man, why am I going through this? Why don't I never fit in? What's wrong with me? You know what I'm saying? I used to ask all the questions all throughout. It's as early as I can remember. Like, damn. But now understand after that one dark night of the soul, and I tapped into that ancient ancestor from ancient Kemet. He was like, we chose you.
Yeah.
You won. We picked you. We think you can handle the job.
Because you weren't designed to fit in, you were designed to stand out, right?
Yeah.
One of the things I talk about often is the difference between a herd, a pack, and a tribe. You know what I'm saying? These are 3 completely different setups for community. A herd is always being moved to and fro by something else, right? The herd out here decide that it wants to graze on grass, and then here come that barky ass dog saying, no, you need to go back to your pen. Ain't no more eating. And what do the herd do? Scurry all along and
yes,
feed.
Boss. Yes,
You
boss.
see, exactly. They do exactly what they're told. And then you have the pack. The pack is also led by a leader. There is somebody in that pack who is telling everybody what to do. You don't eat till I finish eating. You don't sit down till I sit down. Okay. And there are a lot of people who want to be a part of a pack. They want to move to and fro like that. If you set the trend, I'm going to follow the trend because those people are part of the pack. They're part of the society. They are part of whatever this thing is. But when you are in a tribe don't move like that. A tribe is a group of eagles that decide to come together and work collaboratively to make something happen, right? And everybody in the tribe has a uniqueness, and everybody in the tribe has a divine skill set, and everybody gets to contribute what they feel like they can contribute to the group versus being told what they're going to do. They offer what they can do. Nobody is hated on. Nobody is treated shady because in the tribe, everybody's uniqueness is important and it's valued. So once you get out of that herd and pack mentality, right, you learn that being an individual that is able to work within the collective is important. And in that, there is a oneness. And in that experience, God is present, right? Because that is exactly what we are. All of these microcosms of God coming together, moving out separately to have our own individual experiences, and then coming back to the whole to say, hey, this is what I learned. And then we go back out and we have these experiences. And then we come back together and say, hey, this is what I learned. And this is how I can contribute. And this is what I can do to make this next thing. Right. But we have to be willing to stand apart, not take the what seems to be rejection or isolation. See, when we take it personal, it's like it's something wrong with me. I need to change and mold and fix myself. No, I ain't got time for that. I'm a divine energy and I want to experience every aspect of my divinity. I want to remember it. I want to remember it. You know?
Right. Because it's always been there. You just got to remember.
You got to tap into it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, so powerful. So powerful. I saw when you were doing your hands like that, I saw the aura jump off your hands when you were doing that. I was like, ooh, this is powerful right here. You got energy flowing all off of it. You can see it on the camera. Ooh.
Much gratitude.
Yeah. So let me get on to this next question. So if I want to get started with shadow work, where should I start? Excuse me.
It's such a
where
big
should
question.
I start?
That's a it's a big question, Shadow. That's a big question. All right, so I'm gonna say several things now. And for everyone who is watching, like really, really tune into what I'm saying to you. Shadow work is not one process. Okay. When you are shadow working, it is a multi-stepped process that requires you to not only go within yourself, but then also to soothe yourself afterwards, okay? So as you're doing all of this thinking, processing, crying, feeling, all of that, remember that you have all of these energy centers and each one of them is responsible for a different emotion, X, Y, and Z. So when I teach shadow work, because I have a shadow work book and I have shadow work courses at different levels and things like that, one of the things that I always preface with is this: you're about to sign a contract with yourself. And this contract has several parts to it. And a couple of the things are this: that you promise to be honest with yourself. You can lie to everybody else, okay? This your world, okay? But you're going to always keep it funky with yourself, okay? If you did something that you're not proud of, that's okay. You have to be honest about it with yourself, because I'm going to tell you right now, the more that you lie to yourself about the things that you have and have not done, the bigger you make your shadow grow. Okay. This is the real deal. So one, keep it funky with yourself. Ain't no future in your front. Two, you want to make sure that after you have done this hard labor, this rough work, we call it, that then you go and you do something to bring your energy back up. You have to put salve on the wound. You can't just leave that thing gaping open. So you have to be willing to go and play. And I mean, like, go to the park and get on a swing, baby. Okay. Because what we're talking about when we talk about the shadow is the inner child. Okay.
Yes.
That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the psychological small you that was impacted by events that happened in your past or in your present even, okay? But that's what we're talking about. And so that psychological small you needs things that the adult you won't comprehend easily. For example, you may need to color, paint, do music, go get a massage, do yoga or tai chi or kung fu, whatever your thing is, qigong. You may need to sleep. You understand what I'm saying? You may need to wrap yourself in your favorite thing, eat your favorite cereal while you're watching cartoons, because what you're doing is you're expressing to that psychological little you that you hear them, that you are now old enough and responsible enough for yourself to defend, protect, and take care of little you. When your shadow acts out and you snap off on someone or you do whatever this thing is that you do when you're triggered, that is your psychological little you saying something is traumatically familiar. I don't trust you to handle it, so I'ma handle it. But when you're shadow working, what you're working on is, okay, I'm triggered by something. I'm not going to react. I'm going to process through what is it that I'm feeling and why, so then I can respond to whatever the situation is. Now, when you're going through the process, sometimes you're going to act out.
Oh, yes. For real. For real. All kind of ways. All kind of ways.
But you have to offer yourself grace and take yourself through the process. Okay. So how do you get started? First, I didn't give you a couple. Those are important. You have to be able to keep it funky with yourself, be honest with yourself, keep it real. And then you have to make sure that you're willing to do the process of applying the salve. You don't just open a wound and then just leave it open. So one of the things I tell people to do often is to do an exercise called the mirror and reflection activity. This is an easy way. I'm going to give you another one too, but it's mirror and reflection is the first one. And this is an easy way for you to see how you are projecting onto other people. It's a way for you to see your shadow in action. Okay. And this is going to be uncomfortable. But what I tell people to do is you take a sheet of paper, and you on one side, you put reflection, on one side, you put mirror. Okay. Now, in this scenario, a reflection is an individual who is showing you your behavior back to you. Okay. A mirror is someone who is telling you about yourself. They are telling you about the ill things that you do. They're telling it to you. This is your mirror. They're just holding up a mirror right in front of your face. Okay. Now, this doesn't always have to be, I'm going to say positive or negative. We're not going to say good or bad because that's subjective. But on the stream, on one end you have negative and one end you have positive. And sometimes you fall somewhere in between there. Okay. With your behavior, blah, blah, blah. Now, when you are doing a reflective activity or when you are writing down your reflections for the day, I want you to be looking at people who you judge. Who are you judging and what are you judging them for? Because at the end of the day, your judgment is a projection of something within yourself. And I'm not talking about if you're like judging someone who is a rapist or you're judging someone who is a narcissist. I'm not talking about that. Okay. Unless we're talking about that. But what I'm talking about is you go to the gym and you see a heavy set sister in there, or a heavy set brother in there, or somebody wearing something that you feel like is inappropriate. And then you go in with your commentary in your mind. Okay, check yourself, because these people doing whatever they want to do. They living their best lives, or they living the life that they want to live. And here you come projecting onto them your own thoughts, feelings, fears, and insecurities. Okay, so you write that down. I have 15 judgments today. And next to those judgments, you need to write down exactly what the judgments were, the person, the whole scenario. Write it down and then examine it. And then I want you to say, where is this present within myself? Why do I feel this way? Why was I judging this woman's body? Am I insecure about my body? Right?
Oh, that's a big one. Like with dating and men, like judging the woman, like when you dating her, you like ask what her body count is or something like that, and you judging her But if you be real with yourself as a man, you had a time where you was racking up bodies too. She's your mirror. You ran into her for a reason.
You did.
You insecure, you're afraid for some reason about or you giving yourself an excuse that you can't connect with this woman because of her past.
Exactly.
But you have a past also. You also have a past. Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's interesting because some of that is social programming, but it's an interesting dynamic, right? So that's the reflection part, right? These are people who are reflecting back to you aspects of yourself that you cannot readily see. Okay. Now, or you are judging that individual for these aspects of yourself, that you cannot readily see, and it's being shown back to you. And so through that exercise, through examining your own judgments of other people, you get to see where you have wounds. Okay?
Yes.
This is a big one. This is a big one. So then the other part of the paper is the mirror side, right? Now, let me tell you something. Don't nobody like to hear, as an adult especially, when they have done something wrong. Okay. And when they are doing something that is, not considered up to par or whatever it is, like we don't like to hear that about ourselves. But when your shadow, when you are operating in non-awareness or in unawareness, your shadow is acting out without your conscious permission. Hear me again. Your shadow is acting out without your conscious permission. Okay.
Going on a rampage.
Going on a rampage, and you are none the wiser because listen, that person said such and such to me, so I went off on them, right? Oh, yeah. This person did such and such to me, and so I did X, Y, and Z, and you don't be feeling no sort of way about it, okay? But then when somebody comes to you and tell you that you're narcissistic, oh Lord, now you got a problem, right? I don't know what you're talking about. I'm talking about you. You have narcissistic tendencies, or you are emotionally unavailable, right? Or X, Y, and Z. See, this person is just straight up holding a mirror up to you. Like, you may not want to look in this, but you may need to.
Mm-hmm. It's the truth.
It's the truth. And it's something happening in your experience that you cannot see. And I am here to show this to you. Now, there's one caveat to this. Remember that everybody is projecting. Everybody is projecting. So it is important for you to be able to discern when someone is projecting and when they are telling you an aspect of yourself that you cannot see. So this is how you tell. If you have never, ever, ever heard it before, and you our age, Shadow, we're around the same age, okay?
Yeah.
And somebody tells you something about yourself you ain't never heard before, they may be projecting, okay? They may be projecting. But if someone says something to you and you've heard this before, even one time, they're not projecting. It is confirmation. And you have to deal with yourself around that. There is no shame in it. If someone comes up to you and says you're controlling, and you know that 3 boyfriends or 2 girlfriends and already told you that before, or you heard that from a sibling or a parent, it's something to really stop and take time to consider. Why am I like this? When did I become like this? You have to, and when I tell you that you're asking, when you say the question out loud or in your mind, you are talking to your higher self. When did I become like this? When did I become controlling? Okay. And then you wait for the answer. Now, I typically go and get my answers through meditation. Okay. I just sit with myself and I allow. I am completely open. I allow, right? I allow. I also journal to get those answers. A lot of people say, I'm not good at journaling. You have to let journaling almost feel like automatic writing. You get a question prompt. In my book, I give you a question prompt, and I'm very, very targeted with my questions to help evoke the emotion, to help pull up the energy. And then you just write. Whatever comes to your mind, you write it. Okay. And then you go back and review it. Okay. So this is the process. Don't let anything stop you, because I'm going to tell you something. The shadow wants to do what it wants to do. So in you identifying it, bringing all of this stuff up to the surface, there's going to be resistance.
Oh yes.
It's
Oh,
going to be
yes.
resistance every time. And you have to push through the resistance, push through this artificial fear to get to what it is you're trying to get to. So that's one exercise, and that is the mirror and reflection exercise. It's a great one to do.
Powerful. Man,
It's a great
if
one to
y'all
do.
watching, y'all getting some gems right now. She is dropping gems on y'all to how to
Man.
work through your shadow
Yeah.
and deal with it. And
Yeah.
I feel you when you talk about the shadow acting out, when it's giving you resistance.
Yes.
I have like another spiritual mentor. He taught me this technique where you create. He calls it your melanin monster.
Mhm.
So you kind of create a representative for spiritual protection, but in a lot of ways, it kind of takes on the personality of your shadow self, and so it kind of acts out and like tries to push back and lash out, and it's like sometimes you have to like check it and be like, hey, I know you feel like lashing out right now, but we gotta break down why you feel like this.
Absolutely. And so when we talk about, so the next one, that's a good segue. The next one, you create that particular avatar for this experience. This is how I use it for my clients. The next activity I would have people start with is something called listening to your inner inherited critic, right? So most people have an inner voice, okay? Not every single person. I'm going to say about 5 or 10% of the population does not have an inner voice, which is very interesting to me, okay?
Yeah,
I have a
player characters.
yeah, it's like y'all NPCs or something out there.
Yeah,
No, I'm just
that's
teasing.
what I'm
I'm just
saying.
teasing. But I have a master's degree in psychology, and this is what we have not discussed yet. But I have a master's degree in psychology, and I have certifications and everything in the shadow work and the inner child healing and the energy work and all of that stuff. But I feel like that's a caveat I need to throw in there. So it's like, who is she?
Yeah, qualified.
Okay. Qualified. Okay. So
Qualified.
with this inner inherited critic, the reason we call it inherited is because this is not the true voice of your inner self. It is an echo. It's an echo of things that you have been told or things that you've heard about yourself, and it is on repeat. It is on repeat, repeat, repeat. So every time that you do something that is familiar, you hear that echo, right? I'll give an example. I was not raised by my mother, I will say that, but I was raised by someone who was verbally aggressive. That's what I'm going to call it right now. She's verbally aggressive. And she would say things to us if we got something wrong. So if we were told to do something and we got it wrong, she would call us a name. Okay. It'd be something rude, something, disrespectful. And we were shamed for doing the thing that we were asked to do. If we did it incorrectly, we were shamed for it, right? And so as an adult, I would shame myself anytime I did something wrong, and the words that I would use were the same words that were used against me when I was a young person. Okay. And
yeah,
I
you
did
hear
this.
people say stuff like that, like, I'm such an idiot. They'll say some shit like that.
Yeah. That's exactly how it was for me. Okay. And so it's very important for you to listen to that inner critic. In that, you want to understand what your shadow self is saying to you, what your inner child is saying. So that inner inherited critic, that voice is the voice of your inner child. Okay. It is the voice of your inner child. It is talking to you loud and clear. So we talk about the voice of your shadow. That's the voice of your inner child. Okay. We're going to interchange those two words right now so you understand. Okay. So now that energy is coming up. So first you want to understand this is not my authentic voice. Okay. But you do need to listen to it so that you can hear what it is trying to tell you. Something in your experience is traumatically familiar. You need, and I am telling you, dummy, I'm
Yeah.
telling you, understand what I'm saying? I'm
Yeah.
telling you that this makes me feel some sort of way. And so I'm having this reaction to what is happening. So what I did for myself is I created this avatar. Okay. Because the whole thing is you have to get in there, you have to rewire your thinking. You have to rewire your brain. You have to unlearn things and recalibrate and relearn some shit. It's just, it is what it is. Okay. And so now when you're in that process, I had to create an avatar to help defend myself against this inner inherited critic because she was wild style. Okay. She was going ham with some things. I was like,
Wow.
wait a minute. You see what I'm saying? Wait a minute. And so within that, my avatar was, so I'm pretty diminutive in status. I'm about 5'2". Okay, I'm a shorty over here.
Okay.
And so my avatar was an Amazon goddess. Okay, I'm talking about 7 feet tall, feet this big. Okay, and me, I was behind a castle wall with a moat and a drawbridge, and she stood at the other opposite end of the moat, you know, with a staff. And anytime the negative thoughts would come, they would come like little bugs or, you know, piranha or whatever it is. And she would defend this. Now, I know this may sound like an intense process, but it's something that's happening quickly after you erect it, right? Once the character, the avatar is there, then every time the negative thought comes, it is just being wiped out by this thing. Right, by this melanin monster, however you want to see it, just like that. Okay, so when this is happening, when the thoughts are stopped in their tracks, then you have to reprogram right there immediately. Okay, so scenario: something happens, you call yourself stupid, like, oh, I'm so stupid. Why did I do this? Okay, you stop yourself, or your avatar stops that thought. And you say, it is okay to make mistakes. Mistakes are natural. And when I'm making mistakes, that means I'm learning. All is well. Okay. That is the reprogram from I'm stupid or I'm an idiot. Okay.
Yeah.
But
it's okay to make mistakes.
It is okay to make mistakes. I am perfectly fine. When I'm making mistakes, that means I am learning. And that is just the truth. Right. So now when this happens, boom, your brain is wiring and it's firing. Okay. You had a thought, you back that up with an emotion. And so now, boom, every time you have that thought, that thought, you feel that emotion. Okay. Boom. I'm not an idiot. I am learning. Mistakes are okay. I feel good. Okay. Now, wiring and firing together. So now every time you have that thought, you feel that feeling. And now you are rewired on that one thing. And you have to continue to do that for every negative thought that you have. This is why I say shadow work is a process. Shadow work. You're never going to hear me call myself a bad bitch. Not ever. I don't care.
You rewired your brain.
Do you understand what I'm saying to you? I'm not going to use language that is the opposite or on the negative end of the spectrum when I'm referring to myself. I don't care how we dress it up. You ain't gonna never hear me call myself the N-word. Not ever. You understand what I'm saying? Because I've evolved past those titles. I'm not going to use something or call myself something that I am not. Not for friends, not for society. I'm not doing that because I understand that neurons that fire together wire together. Okay. Words are a vibration. You spell cast when you use words. So you have to be very careful. That's why I can't say I'm a shadow work or a shadow hunter or I teach shadow work without also including that I'm a metaphysician. Because see, I'm giving you some other tools that you're going to need to navigate this space correctly. Okay. I want to teach you about vibration and how to use your words and your energy because all of it matters and it all goes together. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's your second exercise is working on your inner critic, and that's just a part of it. So I offer a 1-day free class that includes these exercises in more detail. And so so it's a 1-day free class. You can get it on my website or whatever, and then, go through the process for yourself and then decide if you want to do a 3-day, a 5-day, a 7-day, or whatever. But it's important. These 2 exercises alone make people feel like they finished with shadow work. Like, you're not finished, baby. This only 2.
We just cracking the surface. We just getting started.
Cracking the surface on this thing. Okay. And actually, the younger you do it, the better. See, when you get our age, it's like you got a whole lot of shit you got to work through. Okay. You do this at 22. Can you imagine that?
You prepare yourself early.
Yeah, but can you imagine if you learned shadow work at 22? Because shadow work is a process, and it's an ongoing process. I've been doing this work for years, and I still shadow work, because guess what? The shadow is just a part of you. So you have to learn how to work with your shadow and how to talk to your shadow and how to understand the language. I know that if I have a negative thought that comes into my experience, I need to stop right there and say, hold on, what's going on with you?
Yep.
Wait a minute, okay?
Avatar pop up.
Yeah, check yourself before you wreck yourself, okay? Because you got to understand, right? Because you have to understand why you're having the thought too. That's the other side of the game. Yeah, you can stop and reprogram in that moment, but you also have to say, but what is the shadow telling me by bringing that energy forward? You got to really get into yourself. Ain't nothing about this easy, but it is divine work. Yeah. So those are the 2 exercises anyway that I would have people start with. And then, buy the book, because the book got it all, the journal prompts and everything.
Oh, yeah. We got to make sure to let everybody know how they get all that information and all those products and classes from you when we get to the end of the
Absolutely.
interview. I still got 2 more questions for you.
I'm with you.
So, we've been talking about these avatars and Amazon women, and then all these conjuring up stuff, and me like talking about Melanin Monster. And I get this from haters all the time, and people who outside the circle. They ask this, you guys are, it's evil, So my question is shadow work evil? Because people be like, what are you doing? You worshiping the devil? What are you doing? The people that's holier than thou, devout Christians or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So is this work evil? In your opinion.
I'm such a philosopher, okay? So I can say yes to that question and really explain it in a different way. But in short, the answer is no. Okay. And let me tell you something. For people who do not understand duality, they are going to look at anything that is not surface as something bad. There's people saying that Andre 3000 playing them flutes was bad. Okay, it was evil. So
nothing but good music.
You understand? High frequency, high vibratory energy. It's crazy. So anyway, at the end of the day, shadow work is not evil. But if you do not understand psychology, if you do not understand what it means to have an inner child, if you are not open to understanding different perspectives of life, of people, of work, then you're gonna be stuck in the herd, and you're gonna be left believing that anything that you do not know is bad, right? We think of, and we're programmed like this. Let's just keep it real, okay? We live in a world, and a lot of people, I don't know why people believe this, that the same people who would have 400 plus years of chattel slavery would not then turn around and create systems to keep you dumb. I don't know why y'all don't believe that. That the evil that men do is alive and well, and people have just become more covert in their insidious nature. And I'm talking about generally speaking. Okay. So I know I'm getting very serious right now, but I really need y'all to hear this. Okay. There are programs in place right now to suppress us as light beings. There are frequencies that are played, all kinds of things, subversive messages put through cartoons for children, and all kinds of things. And you can call this conspiracy theory all you want to, but there's documentation out about this. Okay. My undergraduate degree was in communications with a focus on media and society. So for 4 years, do you know what I had to do? Study commercials, study movies, and then understand the psychology underpinning them and what they are doing in this work. Okay. So understand that when you watch things like Us, movies like Us, when you watch scary movies and things like that, those are movies that are helping people to exorcise their shadow self, right? Because sometimes you may want to slap somebody for saying something rude to you, but because we live in a civilized society, you can't slap nobody. But guess what? You can watch Michael Voorhees go over here and murder somebody for whatever, trespassing on his property or even being in his face. You understand what I'm saying? So when you are watching like a scary movie or something like that, that is actually a way that people use to help you exorcise your darkness, right? To keep you being a civilized individual, because we have already calcified your pineal gland. We are already using frequencies to suppress your higher self, but we don't want you to get out of hand. So we have to find ways in order to help you to exorcise that energy. Okay. You ever watch some of these scary movies and stop and say, well, how the hell did they come up with this? This is just crazy.
They're getting it from somewhere.
Like, where are they getting this from? You understand what I'm saying? So understand me when I say that you are being programmed to believe that the shadow is a bad thing, because you are seeing over and over and over again all of these different representations of darkness or shadow. Okay. But at the end of the day, do you know that the shadow cannot exist without the light, literally? And that the light cannot exist without the shadow. When you walk into light is when you see your shadow, literally, as you're walking into light. Okay, so as above, so below. This is the dichotomy of being human and spirit. You know, so
duality.
It's the duality, right? So even when we talk about God and the devil, you are that too. But what is the devil? But your lower self, that aspect of yourself that is untamed, that you have not tapped into yet, the unchained shadow. But once you bring that shadow into the light, into awareness, you recognize what it actually is. But until that point, it is an untamed shadow, right? A force to be reckoned with.
It's going to do whatever it wants.
It's going to do whatever,
because you haven't tapped into it.
Because it is unchained. Absolutely. So you want to make sure that you are not in the herd, in the pack, when people are talking about things like this. Okay. They can give you all these representations of your higher and lower self. But as soon as you start talking about it on a psychological level, and you start talking about how to repair that or how to bring balance to that energy, then all of a sudden it's bad. Now, ask yourself, why would they do that? It is another program. Because if I keep you dumb, and I mean that on every level, energetically, spiritually, emotionally, if I keep you dumb, I can control you. Now, you can agree with that or not agree with that, but it is the truth as I understand it.
Yeah. So, if they keep you dumb and in fear, they got you.
Yeah.
They got you. If they can make you afraid of something, they got you.
They push you in with the herd, because that's all the herd is. Every being or energy in the herd is afraid, right? They are afraid. So they are doing whatever they need to do in order to survive the dog or the whatever, the wrangler or whatever is keeping you moving a certain way. It's an interesting thing to observe.
Yes, it is. Crazy. So,
Yeah.
last question. I want to ask you, how has shadow work changed your life?
Shadow work has, simply put, evolved me.
Got to elaborate on that one.
I am. My greatness has always been peeking out through my pores. Without my higher self has been present, just like my lower self has been present without my conscious permission. Okay. I feel like at some point I was an NPC too. I was just kind of moving around, doing whatever I was programmed to do. Okay. I'm being really honest right now.
Yeah.
Okay. But these two aspects of myself kept showing up, right? I'm a vocalist. I'm a professional vocalist. I ran with a band. I did Super Bowl. I've done so much work in that realm. And I'm going to tell you something. I was insecure about my voice for all of that time. Okay. All that time. But I'm talking about people was paying to come see me, paying to bring me places. It was a whole thing. I've traveled around the world being a vocalist, but I was insecure about it because I had people telling me that I didn't sound gospel enough. I didn't have a certain kind of timbre that would, carry better with our community. So it's an interesting thing, right? To be powerful and not know how powerful you actually are. See, this is how you actually get you fall over to the dark side. This is how you actually become a dark Jedi. Okay. Yeah. And so it's one of the ways. And so what shadow work has done for me, it has unveiled me, because tucked down in my shadow wasn't just bad memories or trauma or negative things, but it was also a lot of my greatness. So I got to bring all of that stuff to the top. I got to bring all of that stuff to the top and really observe my full self. Like, girl, you wait a minute. You be doing this and this and this. You interested in that. You could do that. You do all these things well. This is why people don't like you. It ain't got nothing to do with your energy, your personality, girl. They is jealous. And of course, they have tried to suppress you and keep you in a trauma state. Because listen, if I tell her this about herself, if I help her to unlock this aspect of herself, she gonna blow the roof off of this thing. And so then I had to just tap down into it and unlock it for myself. And now I am that force to be reckoned with. Now, yeah, you can tell me a whole lot of things, but you can't tell me about me, because I know me. I know me from the negative to the positive. I know me. I can look at my partner and tell him, listen, today, I can't see you. Today, I am in a trauma state. And I know how I'm going to respond to you. And I love you, but you can't be around me today. I know when I'm projecting, I can stop and say, my bad. This don't have nothing to do with you. This about me. And then I get right to my shadow working, because I understand what I am and who I am and how to work through my own energy. I am Neo in the Matrix when he got all those downloads and he was like, give me some more. Yes.
Yeah, I know Kung Fu.
I'm
Man,
that.
You speaking to me right now. Ugh.
I am Neo when he lost his eyesight and was still able to navigate the Matrix because he was energetically connected. That's who I am now. That's not who I was before. Before, I was Neo working in that cubicle, going on his day-to-day. So that's how shadow work has impacted me. And see, y'all think I'm talking metaphorically. I'm not. I'm telling you that how I navigate this experience now, having shadow work, having tapped into myself, and I'm not going to say having shadow work, doing shadow work, because it is a doing. It is not something that ends, because you are a duality. For the rest of your experience here, you are a duality. So you are always working on your light and doing your light work, and then you are doing your shadow work. It is a fine balance. But once you are able to find that balance and you stand in the middle and you observe everything that you are, and you release your shame and you release your insecurity and you release this and you release that, and you come to an understanding about all of those things, then you become an alchemist, right? But you do not get to that place until you start at the base, which is the shadow work. It is the first thing. And so once I went through that process, and it's been a long process.
It never is. It never is.
It never ends. But when I started that, I got a couple years in. I was like, oh, okay, I understand. I see me. I get it. Oh, that's you too, Naz? Okay. That's why I can say, and I say this all the time on my social media page, Shadow, and I know that you know this, I'm never going to pretend to be something that I am not. I don't care what space I'm in. I'm going to show up as me. Okay?
Yes.
I'm going to show up as me. I'm going to show up as myself 100%. And sometimes, like I told you, sometimes I'm going to pull out this machete because I recognize that the situation calls for the machete. Okay? And other times I'm going to show up with the sword of peace, right? Gently right here at my side, because I also recognize that that is what is required. That's why I tell people, don't put me on a pedestal, because what happens as soon as you start calling me priestess and all of this stuff, you're going to, and I have to cuss you out one good time, you're going to be like, oh, she not who she say she is. No, I'm exactly who I say I am. I stand in the middle of all this energy, baby, and I pull from whatever side of that energy is necessary for the experience that I'm having. And that is the power of understanding yourself. It's the power of understanding both your light and your dark. And I had to come to that realization, because in the beginning of this thing, I'd be like, oh, I'm all love and light. No, the fuck I'm not.
Nope.
I'm that too. Yeah, I'm that too. Oh, I'm that too. But I can also be darkness and brimstone, baby. Please don't get it twisted. And when we listen to and when we understand like all of the gods of old, right? Let's go to ancient Kemet real quick. And then we're going to go to ancient India. In ancient Kemet, you have Bastet and you have Sekhmet.
Sekhmet.
Yeah, you have Bastet and you have Sekhmet. These are two, the same energy, different sides of the coin. Okay, Bastet is the peaceful goddess. Okay, she is the open, loving, peaceful empress. Okay, she comes here with balance and all of these things. But Sekhmet will off with your motherfucking head.
Oh yeah, she do not fuck around.
If you step incorrectly, even right now, they have Sekhmet's statue in a separate chamber. They have removed her out of her pyramid. They have put her in a separate chamber because she was causing disturbances energetically when people were coming in to see her. They were leaving feeling some sort of way. So they had to put her in a separate chamber, her statue, to prevent her from affecting people that were coming in to see her. Okay, so that's one thing I want to say. Now let's go to ancient India. Let's think about Durga and Kali Ma, same energy.
Yep.
That's just like that. Yep, that's just like that Bastet and Sekhmet energy. Okay, they are two separate ends of the spectrum. You got Durga on one end, and you have Kali Ma on the other end, and in between that is all of this range of energy. Okay, and whatever energy is necessary for the experience is what I'm using. And I'm using that. I'm going based on my own intuition. Do you think somebody can walk up to me and say something crazy or disrespect me or treat me inappropriately? Do you think
that energy?
It's not about matching the energy. It is about choosing the correct energy to exorcise or evolve the experience. You see what I'm saying? I ain't matching your energy. You could be a complete asshole, and I may recognize in that moment that I need to apply grace because you're hurting, right? But also, if you are a narcissist and you think you're going to pull that shit with me, I may have to pull this machete out to let you know you got the wrong one. Sometimes we have to be taught a lesson, like, don't touch the hot stove, don't touch the hot stove. Oh, you touch the hot stove, let me show you how hot it is. You understand what I'm saying? And so Exactly. So that's the vibration that I'm talking about. But as soon as you start to position yourself like, oh, I'm holier than thou, or here I am, this grand empress, and I only move like that. And that's your prerogative if that's how you choose to move. What I'm saying is be authentic in that energy. You are all things. You are a microcosm of the creator that is also all things. Okay. You are not a drop in the ocean, but in the entire ocean in just one drop. Right, so you are all of these things here in this vessel, in this iteration of your energy. Okay, so to pretend that you are only part of that is a farce, and it's a disservice to yourself. I hope
Yes.
every day I hope that I never have to dip into the negative energy. I'm being real. Every day, it is a goal to step out into this experience and exude positive energy. But sometimes you're being tested. So you got to break
Yes.
out your number 2 pencil and deal with that accordingly, right?
Mhm.
So yeah. Anyway, to your question, how has it helped me or changed me or evolved me? Just
Mhm.
like that. I'm no longer Neo in the cubicle. I am Neo with no sight, navigating the matrix as if I do.
That's powerful. That's
Ashe.
powerful.
Ashe.
Ashe. So that is all the questions that I had. This has been such an amazing podcast episode. I'm so glad that I finally got you on here so we
Yeah,
can have
man.
this talk.
Yeah.
And I think it's divine timing because I was in a different state of mind before I went to Peru.
Yeah.
And after I came back from that experience, I'm evolved.
Yeah.
And I think I'm in a better position to receive you. I have a deeper understanding about myself and my own shadow. And um, being like centered within myself and being balanced and being comfortable in my own skin and being
Ashe.
authentic and real.
Ashe.
And I know I first reached out to you and I tried to get you on. You was like, I'm busy, and I was feeling some type of way. I was like, oh, okay. And then life just kind of like pushed me through all those challenges. And here I am on the other side of it, and man, if Ampu was to weigh my heart
Mm-hmm.
on the scale of my art, it'd be so much. It's so much lighter right now. So
Ashe.
um, I thank you for uh, the first rejection and the redirection, and then finally getting on the show. Um,
Ashe.
um, Tell everybody where they can find your information and where they can get your books and your classes and all of that.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna say this first. The first time was not a rejection. It was
Mm,
a give me a moment to finish a project. See, a lot of times we'll
yeah,
overcommit ourselves, right? And we do that because we are seeking approval or we're trying to be seen or whatever it is. And that's not my bag. I do
yeah.
a lot of different things and I'm a cognitive specialist. So
Uh-huh.
I was rewriting my book for some students, right? And it took all
Yeah,
my energy and concentration. So I said, yeah, I want to do this with Shadow, but
yeah,
I need a minute. So you didn't call me now. I got everything caught up. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, yes, I'm ready. So I will say that to you just for your own peace. And I know
yeah,
that you done moved on past that, but I just want to explain that to you and say that to you because the old me, like in my 30s, I would have overcommitted myself and been frazzled and it wouldn't have been good. So that's
yeah.
just me honoring myself. And that's a whole nother thing that shadow work has helped me to do too. So
Mhm.
um
Thank you.
thank you for having me on the show. It's been a beautiful experience. So I appreciate you. I appreciate your vibration and your energy and for being part of the tribe, even though, like I said, a tribe is a group of eagles together, coming together, choosing to work together and choosing to collaborate and all of that. So that feels special to me and I feel blessed to have done this with you. So thank you for that. If you want to work with me, you can find me at Jedi Naz. So it's Jedi DJEDI_Naz on Instagram. Same thing on Facebook. And then my website is energy healing.com. And if you come over there, you'll find my books, other products. So I'll just show you real quick. I have the Healing the Mother Womb book. This one you can find on Amazon. And then I have this beautiful shadow work book.
Oh yeah, look at that.
And this is available on my website, along with my classes and things like that. So yeah, and even if you're not ready to go that route, come check me out on Instagram, because we do a lot of public work as well. So yeah.
All right, so y'all make sure y'all go check her out. Make sure you
Ashe.
patronize Jedi Naz and get her book, get her workbook, take her classes, follow her on Instagram. Make sure you patronize her, because she blessed us with so much information and gems today. Y'all just need to go ahead and just go ahead and bless her. Yeah.
Ashe. And I'll say this. I'm going to say this because I'm so serious about this particular work. I'm serious about this particular work. I tell everyone this. If my vibe doesn't resonate with you, if I'm not the right person for you to shadow work with, don't work with me. Find someone that speaks to you and work with them. I don't care how you get the work. I just want you to get it. What I'm telling you is I got tools right now ready to go in at hand that you can purchase if you want to. But if I'm not the person that makes you feel some sort of way that you don't feel connected to, that's all right. Find the energy that you do connect with and work with them. Okay. And I mean that. I mean that. Get this work though. Get this work.
Get this work.
Get this work.
I love what you said about tribe too. That's what I'm really building. That's what I really want to build with this Shadow Riders Army thing, man. So the tribe, not being a herd and not being a pack, but a tribe.
Yeah.
That's what we building.
Yeah, absolutely. Tribe over pack and herd all day. I don't even want no followers in my crew. I don't. What's your gift? What's your talent, right? Do not put me on a pedestal. I may be further along in my journey or further along in this evolution, but that doesn't make me better than you. That means I got a little bit more knowledge than you at this point in time, and I can show you some things. I can teach you some things. Doesn't make me more than you, right? So in a tribe, we all are everything, right? So we all got to come up and bring our gifts to the surface. And if your gifts haven't come to the surface, then it's my responsibility to help them come to the surface. You see what I'm saying? That's tribe energy. But if you just a follower or you just trying to get on because it look good, that we don't do that over here. I don't want that. I had to tell a friend of mine, I go through my Instagram followers and I delete people every day. While people are trying to get more followers, they want to make it look good. I delete people every day. If you try to come over here and you don't have no picture or you don't have any posts, you can't come over here. I understand everybody got their own reasons for what they're doing, but I don't want none of that. That's not what we're doing over here. Everybody can't come over here. You see what I'm saying?
We don't want no NPC energy. You know what I'm saying?
Period.
We don't want that.
Period. I'm not interested. So yeah.
Well, we're going to go ahead and sign off. This has been another great episode of SRA Rally Point. I'm your host, Shadow, leader of the Shadow Riders Army. We got Jedi Naz with us today. We had a great show. Make sure, if you guys made it this far, consider joining Shadow Riders Army. Go to shadowridersarmy.com and sign up. I want to say thank you to all our audience on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, audience over on Twitter right now, and also the audience over the Kick. Every one of y'all, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you so much. I appreciate everybody that was in the chat on Discord right now. Appreciate you. Love you guys so much. And with that, we're going to sign off and make sure y'all catch us for the next episode. Peace.
Peace.